All right, so we are live. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon and good evening, everyone who's going to take their time to watch this. I'm truly, truly honored to have you. As you watch this, please let us know where you'll be watching from and let us know what's going to be your main takeaway from this conversation. With me, I have Dr. Carol, who's not really new, but for the sake of new people who have just joined our page, please introduce yourself and then we go to our topic of discussion.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lema. Such an honor to be here. I love having conversations like this. So anytime you invite me, I jump on quickly. Yes. So my name is Carol Chakua, Dr. Carol. I am a therapist. I am a parent coach. I'm also a lecturer. I teach psychology at the university. Passionate about supporting anyone who's taking care of children.
So today we are going to talk about one sphere of this person, this stable person, and that is on their emotional and psychological health. Because you see, physical abuse, you can see it. It's something you do, so you kind of are very conscious about it. But when you talk about the psychological or emotional abuse, these are very subtle. They are not things you do. They are not things. They can very easily slip into the cracks without even you knowing it. So maybe just to start, you start us off. What exactly is emotional abuse? And then we're going to talk about which are these subtle ways that we are actually abusing our children emotionally. Most of the time, we don't know it because we think it's a way of expressing yourself and it should be okay. They should be able to cope anyway. Yeah. So, what exactly is emotional abuse?
Yeah. So and you're right when you say physical abuse is something we can see. The reality is that by the time physical abuse has happened, a lot of emotional abuse has happened.
Oh,
And
God.
basically, emotional abuse is just creating an environment that suppresses someone's natural expression of who they are emotionally. For example, creating a space where someone is not really allowed to be themselves, to speak
Mm,
up,
mm,
and how you do it. And again, I'll just put it into, I know you said I define and I say
mm,
what the examples are, but it makes more sense to actually use the examples for us to really
to
understand.
understand.
Is
Okay.
constant, and the word here is constant, because we slip up once in a while. Constant
Mm,
criticism, constant putting somebody down, constantly not creating, dismissing, talking down, dismissing, and with a child it's even worse because the part of the brain that's the most active during childhood really is the emotional brain, and therefore being allowed the space for them to express and to
mm,
experience all ranges of emotions is important for them
mm,
even to now begin to develop the other parts of the brain that develop in
mm,
time.
mm,
So constant criticism, putting them down, dismissing, talking down at them, yelling, very harsh, um,
mm,
very harsh words used, and then just putting children in a situation where even as parents you're constantly fighting,
mm,
so that they soak that in. So basically it's just creating that environment that puts
mm,
somebody
mm,
down.
mm.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'll start with criticizing. What is criticizing?
What is criticizing?
Yeah.
Criticizing is giving feedback very negatively. I wish I could go to my Google and look at the
Mm,
definition. But
mm,
an example would be really like a child is doing something, like maybe drawing something, and
mm,
what you're saying is, what is that? You can't do better than that. Just going straight into looking at the wrong
The
side
wrong.
of
Okay.
what it is they are doing, or
Mm,
and they're trying to express themselves. Art is very free, and it's really about creativity, and
yeah,
creativity is very relative, and
it's
so
true.
really using your own standards. So you can't do better than that, or what's wrong
Mm,
with you, you
mm,
can never get it. It's really in the words that you use. So giving feedback, but in a
mm,
very harsh and negative way.
mm,
um, then labeling a child, you're lazy, you're irresponsible, you'll never make it, using words like that.
mm,
And even
mm,
just, as like stupid. How stupid is that?
mm,
And we find those words coming out of our mouths as parents in
yeah.
moments of pressure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's true. And I have actually encountered that in the clinical setting. Maybe you tell a child do this and this, and then a mom or a dad suddenly says that word. I hate
Mm.
that word.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I really don't like it. And automatically, of course, the conversation shifts from it being clinical now to a counseling session. Like, no,
Right,
you can't
right.
do this to a child. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the other
Another
thing,
one is shaming. Oh, I don't know what you wanted
that
to
was
ask,
one
but
of
another
my,
one is
yeah.
shaming, because we're such a
Mm,
shame-based culture. Like when we were growing up, when you made
mm,
a mistake in school, you would be called out in the assembly parade, and the teachers would dress you down one
yeah,
by one. And
it's
there's
true.
that notion that if we put it out there, you a funzo, the rest
Yeah,
will
you
not
are the
use it.
example. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
let you be an example. And
yeah.
so it's so we've grown up in that kind of shaming, and that's why you see it a lot. Even now in social media, it's even worse. But it's like shame. We are such a shame-based culture, and we think that that's the way of disciplining, by shaming our children. And sometimes, really, I usually tell parents, if you really think about it, when you're feeling ashamed yourself, is especially in the moment when your child has done something, if it brings you to shame, you will be triggered to shame them as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
You'll be triggered. So most of the time when you shame them in public, it's because you're the one feeling it, and you don't know what to do with this. So what's wrong with you? Come here. And then you yell, you come, you
Mm.
want to show people around that, I've got it under control. So
Yeah, I'm not like actually. Well, how I usually look at it is you're trying to say I'm not like this child. I'm actually better than this
yeah,
child.
yeah,
Yeah, this is
exactly.
your
Yeah,
child. You see,
yeah,
you live
you're
in the same house actually. Yeah.
right. And
Mm,
that really comes from a place of inadequacy. If you have
yeah,
to use that moment to prove to others that you're a good
exactly.
parent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you see, I'm also a parent of a special needs son,
Mm.
and most of the time my son has autism, and so most of the time you find yourself it comes so unaware, like it's not something you you see the way they can just all of a sudden do something extremely random, and if you're not in check with your emotions, you're more likely going to shame them or
Mm.
even humiliate them, because it is true actually whatever they have done is
Right.
not what,
Yeah.
but if you do that, it's a vicious cycle that you are going to lose. As a
Yes.
parent, you are the one who's going to lose, because for them, they are not able to control circumstances at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All these outbursts, all of a sudden they have these outbursts, especially when they're
Mm.
in public space and all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I think as a parent, you really need to really I cannot say be in control, but take your emotions, that emotional regulation.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mm.
Just and learn, know that it's a process, and
Yes.
know that it will start with you making those mistakes.
Mhm,
To
mhm,
start with you yelling. I mean, I'm
mhm,
here talking about it from a very calm place, but I have
mhm,
yelled, I have shamed my son, I've done those things,
mhm,
and I've
mhm,
seen where it hasn't worked. I have
mhm,
experienced guilt later on, and I'm like, there's no way. And the vicious cycle you're talking about. So I
mm,
think it's important that even as we're having this conversation, that we catch the guilt that we might start feeling even as you're listening to this conversation.
Yes.
Catch
Yeah.
that guilt for what it is and just release it,
Mm,
because we do what we do with the skills that we have or
mm,
don't have, or in the moment we do things we need to do. But the
mm,
question is, are you able to step back, review, process, see where it came from, and make
mm,
a decision to do better next time?
yeah. Yeah. Imagine I still do that. The yelling sometimes, and sometimes what usually happens is they remind me,
Mhm.
why are you yelling? It's wrong.
Mm,
It's
mm.
wrong to yell. So automatically you start going,
Yeah.
okay, I'm really sorry. Yes, it is wrong. So
Mm.
yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's really a process.
Mm.
The guilt and all that. Okay, that's all another thing because
Mommy
I,
guilt.
yes. Okay. The next thing I would want us to talk about is the rejection, because I also see it quite commonly.
Mm.
Why what you usually say is parents losing interest in their own children. Like you, of course, you don't tell them, I'm no longer interested in you. No, 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 no. It's usually the how. So I want you to start from the how. What happens really, and then how
Yeah.
to present. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's again in many forms. I child who is crying and needs to be soothed, because touch is so powerful. Touch is very important, and touch is very good in soothing.
Mm,
So so a child who cries or who is distressed, and you let them be. You're you're not, you're not soothing, because we really
mm,
need that soothing. So you don't reach out to hold them, to soothe them.
mm,
I mean, rejection can come in all kinds of forms. You're fighting with your spouse or your partner and you stay away from the children, you just block them as well. So of
mm,
course there's that rejection as well.
mm,
Just physical rejection, just not being present in their lives because of
mm.
what could be going on with you and the other parent, or with
Yes.
your own stuff that you need to work out.
Mm,
So you withdraw and you stay away.
mm,
Uh, and sometimes it's not even so much what you do, but how the child interprets it. The child interprets it as rejection.
yeah.
Okay, the child, and what they do is they say, I'm not good enough. That's the
Mm,
message that you're sending, that I'm not
mm,
good enough. So
mm,
why does rejection happen? Again, it has everything to do with what's going on with the child. I
mm,
have seen
mm,
parents, especially moms, I don't know about dads, but because I
mm.
work more with moms, I have
Okay.
seen parents who, when they are going through a separation or a divorce, because if it went through a space of rejection,
Mm,
they detach also from the child. So when a child comes and wants to be hugged and soothed, they feel uncomfortable and they push them away. And they even tell them, stop being so clingy, stop being so whiny. It's because they haven't processed their own rejection. And
mm,
especially when it comes, if it's a lady, when it comes to boys needing to be hugged
mm,
and just soothed, yes. It's very typical. You wouldn't believe how often that happens. That they don't know what to do with that. They find
mm,
it they find it uncomfortable. So it could
mm,
be what's going on in the present, because
mm,
those are some of the things that I work with parents. I ask them, what's
mm,
going on in your life right now? Then
mm,
it could be also rejection they experienced as children when they were young also. And so again, there was no soothing when they needed it.
mm,
Nobody really cared what was going on in their lives, or one parent left and just never
mm,
came back. And it's very much when it happens again in a separation, when the most of the time it's the dad, but also the mom. It happens with the mom. Promise you're coming to pick the kids, you don't show up. That's rejection right there. And
wow.
the rejection there is, I'm not good enough, I'm not worth this. kids calling you, you don't pick. And it could be both. It could be both. Kids calling you, you don't pick. Or they leave you a message or send you a message, you don't respond. And you're going through a lot of things. And many times, actually, the animosity between the parents is the one that gets in the way. It really becomes a block for the parents connecting with the children. So it's things like that. And especially that space of just not picking kids, promising them and not doing it. That is serious damage. Seriously, and it's important that co-parents really get an understanding of what they're doing to the child in that space.
Yeah. So so that aspect of like calling, not picking, or I'm coming to pick you, then you don't show up. How, because sometimes life happens and it's genuinely that you were not able to be there at that time. So how should we repair that? How should we do it?
Yeah,
Like, for example,
look,
yeah.
when it's genuine, it's very easy to repair.
Mm,
I'm sorry you called, I wasn't there, I was doing
mm,
1, 2, 3, 4, here I am. I mean, that's
mm,
really easy. And the thing
mm,
is, kids are so forgiving. They are so,
mm.
and you know that, you go through an intense moment, one moment, the next moment you're hugging each other,
It's true.
and it's not so much the breaking that ruins or causes emotional abuse. It's the
Mm.
constant
It's fine.
breaking without repairing. Repair is
Okay.
so important.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
repair is something we have to learn to do. When
Mm,
an emotional moment has happened and we've broken, repair is something we have to learn to do. And when we
mm,
are doing repair, so we've talked about the ones where you genuinely were not able
mm,
to pick up the
yeah.
phone or come, or you can sit down and explain, and
Mm,
you actually say, I'm sorry, can you
mm,
forgive me, and you
mm,
move on. Now, repairing for when you've had a reactive moment, we all do have those reactive moments when we've been
yeah.
triggered. We've talked about them here. You're
Mm,
triggered, shame is triggered, and you yell at your child or you chapper them, you spank them in a
mm,
way that is just extreme. So
mm.
all that, is something that, you need to step back first of all and go back and process yourself.
Okay.
And my book, Parenting with Your Heart in Mind, has a chapter on repair,
Yeah,
just
I saw
how
that
to
one.
repair
Mm,
a relationship. And I just, ask, first of all, go back and process what was going on with me. Because if we don't go there, most of the time, the
mm,
way we tell children to say sorry to each other and
mm,
move on, most of the time that's what we do. But we don't really step back and ask, how did we get there? So
mm,
you need to learn to figure out how you got there, what was going on with you. So
mm,
if you yelled at a child for seemingly being whiny, and it
mm,
makes you uncomfortable because you are experiencing rejection yourself, you need to go back and ask yourself, what do I need to release here? What was going on? Okay.
mm, mm,
Was I tired? Was I having so much going on with me? Do I
mm,
need to see a therapist? Do I need
mm,
to talk to a coach?
mm,
Do I need to talk to somebody? And
mm,
then once you do that, and there are many tools you can use to do that. You can journal, you can just do deep breathing exercises to help you
mm,
calm down so that you can access whatever it is you need to access. You
yeah.
can say a prayer, and just ask God to shine your light in my heart and help me see the brokenness that I have. Whatever faith you have, figure out how to allow access into those deeper issues. Okay.
Mm,
And
mm,
then, when we do that, then you then are in a better place to go and apologize or to go and make the repair. And that is when you will go and have a moment with the child when
mm,
both of you are calm. So, and especially for teenagers, sometimes it takes a while for them to come on. So you could
mm,
be ready, but they are
mm,
not. And it
it's,
doesn't matter how nicely and well prepared you are. If they are not prepared, they'll lash out at you. They
yeah.
will flow. In fact, they'll take advantage of of the apology, and it might take you back to a place, especially if your relationship is shaky. So it's important, to let them know, you know what, I want to talk to you. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. And initially, it's hard. It's hard, especially with teenagers, because they might just use that to extend this thing for long, because they now have your attention. You see, that's another thing. We need to understand also teenagers and where they are coming from. Topic for another day. But both of you have to be calm. It has to be calm and calm to be able to have that conversation. And then for you, you need to get to a place of calmness faster. That's why you need to process it. You need to, because you need to build that muscle. Okay. So you have that conversation. Then when you have that conversation, it should be more of, this happened. This is what was going on with me. Not, you did this and you did that. You know what? Mommy was in a bit crazy frame of mind. I was feeling tired, and I'm a bit stressed about work. Okay. Or I'm a bit stressed about you guys, your future. I'm stressed about what's going on, about this and that. And mommy didn't handle it very well. So you make it about you and how you're feeling, and then now you leave it open. They might also say sorry or not at that time. But let me tell you, it's not the moment of breaking that count. It's the repair. Because repair, Dr. Lema, is such a good way to model conflict resolutions. And my son at 13, my goodness, yes, we do have our moments, intense moments, but how many times does he come to apologize? Many, many. He does that. He comes like, Mom, I'm so sorry. That wasn't cool. I didn't, and that never used to happen, So there is so much you are modeling. Those things we say, what do you want for your child? I want my child to have meaningful relationship, da 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 da. They are made in those moments. So if you're the kind of family that doesn't fight, then you don't have opportunity to repair. There are some skills that you're not building.
Yeah. And it's not normal to have a family that doesn't fight.
Yeah. There's something that's being suppressed there.
Exactly. Yes.
Even those two kids who come, your kids coming and saying, Mommy, this one has done this and this one has done. That's very normal.
Yeah.